Hi, welcome to part 1 of Dr. Tufte's lectures on the Federal Reserve System. I've broken this up into a number of smaller videos. Okay, this covers stuff that is mostly in chapter 29 in the text. And it actually gives you quite a bit extra beyond chapter 29. When I say extra, you should be thinking extra credit questions. In part because, one, a lot of people don't know this stuff. Two, I think it is more relevant than Colander apparently does, because he doesn't have it in the book. And three, international students kind of sort of need to know this stuff, and obviously they have zero exposure to it at all. Some of the American students will probably have picked up some of this in American history classes in middle school and high school, but it does kind of depend on whether you had a good teacher or not. We all know how that goes. So anyways, the Federal Reserve System is the central bank for the United States. And in 2017, when I'm recording this video, most countries do have a central bank. In fact, I think probably all of them do. I can't think of any that don't. But when the United States was founded, this was not a common thing. Okay, most countries did not have a central bank. Of course, banking was not that old at the time. We're talking, the late 18th century. Banking goes back, maybe to the 14th century or so. But it was only in the 1600s that it actually even became popular in England to have a bank, even for rich people. So the idea of having a central bank wasn't really even a worthwhile idea. Now, Genoa, a city-state in Italy, had a central bank from the Middle Ages. Amsterdam in the Netherlands, which was kind of a city-state within the Netherlands, had also had a central bank for about 200 years at the time of the American Revolution. And England had one for about 100 years called the Bank of England. So it was certainly something that people were aware of, but maybe not that they thought was necessary. Now, it's 250 odd years since the American Revolution, and so we think of the Declaration of Independence and we think, ooh, that's the start of the United States, but really that was a Declaration of Independence by the 13 colonies. The idea of a United States really wasn't quite there yet when they were doing that. Now, a little bit of trivia there, if you remember, after the Revolutionary War, they actually tried to organize into a country, and they failed under something called the Articles of Confederation. They wrote this document, they designed a government, and it simply didn't do very well. And so those 13 colonies kind of floated through the 1780s, as a country kind of in name rather than fact. So our Constitution comes out of the failures of the Articles of Confederation, and one of the things that they were talking about was, did they actually need a central bank? Okay, so the Articles of Confederation, and I'll just write Articles for short there, no bank. Okay, and the Constitution has nothing in there about central banking either, no bank. Now, there were people involved in the writing of the Constitution that thought that we ought to have one. The big one is Alexander Hamilton. Okay, he thought that this was a very important thing for us to actually have. Okay, but other people had their opinions. It was discussed, and nobody decided to actually have it. So when the country is started, after this kind of non-start in 1776, and then a false start in the 1780s, and then started up for good when the Constitution is ratified in 1789, there's no central bank at all for the United States. Talk to you in the next video. Bye.